for joining us today for the Orientation to Ontario's webinar on education and training. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Ontario's education system. My name is Ingrid and I am going to be your presenter for today. I am one of the project coordinators with the Orientation to Ontario project that is funded by our governments. Now, a look at our agenda reveals that we're going to be talking about the Ontario school system, private schools and homeschooling, post-secondary education, specialized training programs, and some online resources that we have for you available through the Orientation to Ontario project. The school year begins in September and runs until June. However, students may enroll in school at any time throughout the year. What you need to do is contact your local school board to identify when your child will be needed to report to school and when they need to get registered. Let's take a look at the school system. So we've got three different school systems here in Ontario. Everyone under the age of 18 must attend school and has free access to education regardless of their immigration status or the status of their parents. So we've got a publicly funded school system, we have private schools, and we also have what is known as homeschooling. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go further on in the webinar. Now, let's take a quick look at elementary. Elementary schools includes JK to grade 8, right? So this chart shows the general progression of the publicly funded education system. As you can see here, we're looking at junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten, which starts at about ages 4 to 5. And then we look at grade 1 from ages 5 to 6. There's the elementary school, and that refers to JK, which is from grade 8. And then from ages 6 to 12. And then we go down to the secondary schools, which begins at about age 13 and goes from grades 9 to 12. Okay. Now, in Ontario, we do have special accommodation for children who have special needs. So if your child requires support in language or any additional subjects, or if your child is a gifted child, there are supports and services available from school staff, such as a guidance counselor. Sometimes there are school psychologists, or there are other specialized educators that can support your children, especially when they are gifted. Now, perhaps you're wondering if this is going to cost you additionally. No. There are no additional charges for this. These are covered under the taxes that we pay here in Ontario. The Ministry of Education allocates funding to each school board through the Special Education Grant for special education needs. And you can visit the website that is listed here at www.edu.gov.on/eng/parents/SPECED. Your children will learn English when they attend school. So if you speak a different language or your children speak a language other than English and they're not very fluent in English, they will learn English when they attend school. Schools in Ontario offer English as a second language classes and special supports for students who are learning English as their first language. English literacy programs teach both English as a new language and focus on learning to read and write. These programs are for students who have been out of school for a while, perhaps they don't speak English well, or for some students who've never gone to school. The English language programs are available in both elementary and high school, so you don't have to worry that perhaps your child is a little bit too old for that. No, they will be eligible as long as they meet the criteria. Students in Ontario also study in French as a core subject. Core French includes daily French instructions in kindergarten to grade 8. Most students are required to take one French class in high school to complete their diploma. French instruction is very popular and many English-speaking students take extended or immersion French. students from French-speaking families in Ontario can attend schools where French is the primary language. Now, we talked about kindergarten earlier as we looked at that chart in the first couple of slides. Now, you may be wondering, why would you want to enroll your child who's so young in school? Well, I'll give you a little bit of background on that. The kindergarten program is a full day of learning in early years, and it can help to improve your child's reading, writing, and math skills and provide a strong foundation for future learning, to be quite honest. It also makes the transition to grade 1 easier for both you and your child or your children. What will your children learn? They'll learn about the alphabet. They'll have interactive learning with other students. There is classroom structure. So when you have your children at home, I'm sure that you can teach them at home, but at least if they go to kindergarten, then they'll learn, how classrooms are structured and what are some of the things that are acceptable and what's not acceptable. They also learn a lot of social skills, how to be sociable with their peers and other children of their own age. And so when it comes time for them to go into grade 1, it makes that transition so much easier for you as a parent. Now, what do they learn when they're at the elementary level? Well, they will learn mathematics, language studies, French as a second language, and the sciences as well. We'll take a look at Ontario's secondary and high school system. Both French and English are recognized as official languages here in Canada, and therefore our schools operate in French and English in Ontario. Ontario has 4 types of publicly funded schools under the public school system. The Ontario Ministry of Education operates a complete French language school system and a complete English language school system. These systems operate separately. The French language system is managed by Francophone school boards, while the English language school systems are managed by a variety of Anglophone school boards. Then we also have the Catholic English language schools, and they are open to children who've been baptized or they have parents who are Roman Catholic. And let me just preface that with the fact that when a child is at the high school age, then it doesn't matter whether or not their parents are Catholics. They can still attend a Catholic high school. High schools have classes for students who plan to attend university, college, an apprenticeship program, or just to enter the workforce after graduation. Students must attend school until they complete their diploma or they reach 18 years of age. Students may attend school up until the age of 21 to complete their diploma. After age 21, then they're going to have to go to school as an adult learner. Now, what do you need to enroll your children in school? Well, you'll need all of what is listed here. The documents that are listed here, we have immunization records, and that is proof that your child has been immunized. Proof of age, you need a birth certificate, a passport, PR card, or a record of landing. Proof of address would be a copy of a bank statement, telephone or electric bill, or an apartment lease with your name and your address. Proof of guardianship is required if the child is under the age of 18 years of age and not living with their biological parents or the parents who are listed as their guardians. So you do need proof of guardianship for that. English and math assessments are sometimes required for children between the ages of 14 to 18 years old, and this is used to determine if the child requires additional help to get them up to speed and at the same level as their children within their same age category. Now let's take a quick look at private schools and homeschooling in Ontario. Now, when you talk about private schools, we're looking at people may ask the question, well, why do parents want their children to go to private schools? Well, many people want to have their children attend a private school, and so if you want to do so, there are multiple private schools right here in Ontario. Um, all private schools in Ontario must meet the same general requirements as the public schools, and the ministry Just so you know, the ministry does not regulate, license, accredit, or otherwise oversee the operation of private schools. There are some key questions, however, that you should be asking the school's administration before you decide to enter into a contract with them. And some of these questions would be, does the school follow the Ontario curriculum? Do they perform criminal background checks on their staff? Are the teachers certified? And when we talk about certification of teachers, we are looking at, different levels of certificates. So you want to make sure that you're on top of that and you're asking the right questions. Also, keep in mind that there will be fees and additional charges that you will have to pay. For example, you'll be responsible for fees for uniforms, perhaps, special field trips, school supplies, and many of these schools are also faith-based. So this is something else that you should also keep in mind. Homeschooling is another really big one where people want to know, why would anyone want to homeschool their children? Well, some parents want to do that because they're able to take direct responsibility for their children's education instead of sending them to a school where someone else is responsible for that. Most parents who choose this method want to ensure that they give their child the ability to learn at their own pace and their own, they monitor their progress. The child gets individual attention from their parents. And as we know, every child learns at their own pace. And so this gives the parents an opportunity to ensure that this happens. It is estimated that approximately 1 to 2% of all aged children are homeschooled in North America. This is about 20,000 children in Ontario. The number in Canada is estimated to be a little bit over 60,000 children that are homeschooled. And yes, it is very legal here in Canada across all provinces and all territories. Transporting your children to school could be a concern. However, most parents will have their children either bused or the children may walk to school with their friends or ride their bikes to school. Some parents will either transport their child to school themselves or they'll carpool with other parents. If none of those options are available, then your child could get to school by the public transit that is quite safe and will get your children to school. Please do feel free to check this out. You can go to www.settlement.org and find some additional information on how to transport your children to school. Our next segment deals with post-secondary education. We're going to take a quick look at what the post-secondary education entails. Post-secondary education refers to individuals who've acquired higher levels of education, and this means a university degree, such as a bachelor's degree, university certification above bachelor's level, a master's degree, or a doctorate. So, after completing high school, students have many options for post-secondary education and training. They may complete an apprenticeship for a skilled trade, or they can also attend a college or university program. There are also private career colleges that focus on training in specific fields. It is difficult to find a job, to be very honest, that pays well without some type of post-secondary education. In some fields, those with university training have more opportunity for advancement. In other fields, college training is preferred. Colleges offer diplomas, certificates, and degrees with a focus on practical training, whereas university programs are more theoretical and offer bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees and professional ones as well. We have both public and private colleges and universities here in Ontario. Colleges of Applied Arts and Technology have full and part-time diploma and certificate programs. Many also offer bachelor's degrees in applied areas of study. Colleges tend to be more directly career-oriented than a university. Certificate programs usually take 1 year or less to complete, while a degree or diploma program is usually up to 2 or 3 years. There are 26 public and private colleges in Ontario. Isn't that great? I mean, you can pretty much choose to go wherever you want. Your children can choose to go wherever they want. You've got at least 26 to choose from. We've talked a little bit about the public post-secondary institutions. Now let's take a quick look at the private colleges. There are over 400 private career colleges, and they are licensed by the Ministry of Colleges and Universities. So we talked about the 26 that were publicly funded, and now there are over 400 private ones that I'm talking about here. You can find out more information by going to www.ontario.ca and follow the links there to get to the page that will tell you about these private colleges. Private colleges must be registered with the ministry. The ministry, however, does not regulate them. And some people choose the private colleges because they have flexible scheduling and fast track programs. We ask that you complete a thorough research of all private institutions before making the decision to attend one. This is because some professions with regulatory bodies may not recognize certification from some private schools. So please do ensure that you do a very thorough research process in order for you to ensure that you're doing the right thing. Public universities in Ontario offer more theoretical training than the colleges, like we talked about earlier. And the universities, they have graduate programs that are from 3 to 4 years. Their bachelor's programs are pretty much the same, 3 to 4 years. A master's could take 1 to 3 years. Then there's a doctorate that's 3 years and more. And then you can go to do professional development programs if you already have completed all levels of study that you want to, but you do want to find a job in your field. You can absolutely do that by ensuring that you go to a professional development program. Smaller universities offer only undergraduate programs, or they may have only a few graduate programs. Most universities will offer a large range of programs to choose from, so not to worry. Adults can apply to college or university programs in Ontario even if they have not yet completed high school. How does this work? Most people would think, well, you do need to have a high school diploma in order for you to go to college or university. Well, if you are over the age of 21 and you would like to apply to a college or a university, you may do so as a mature student. They will ask you to submit a high school transcript, write a personal essay. Perhaps they'll ask you to complete a special application. You may be asked to attend part-time courses or to take extra courses, but the fact that you're older than 21 years old and you are not yet in a program doesn't mean that you can't do so because you don't have a high school diploma. The education system is that much flexible. It gives you an opportunity to have your application read and evaluated. Universities offer graduate programs such as master's, doctorate degrees with an emphasis on research, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. Now let's take a look at quickly on how to apply. College applications, if you decide to apply to a college in Ontario, your first step would be to submit your application to the Ontario College Application Services. This is the website that is listed on the slide here. It is www.ontariocolleges.ca. If you'd like to apply for university, then you do need to apply to a completely different organization. And this is the university applications would go to Ontario University's Application Center, and that is the OUAC, www.ouac.on.ca. What is an academic credential or an academic assessment, I should say? These are assessments completed to ensure you meet the Ontario school standards. When you decide to study in Canada, it is important to have your credentials assessed. Now, I have been asked while, working within the employment sector, I've been asked, well, why do I need to have my credentials assessed? I can just show this, and the employer or the institution should just recognize that my transcript and not ask me to have my credentials assessed. Well, assessing your credentials could work to your benefit. It does help to determine if your credentials are equal to the standards set for Canadian schools, and you could be exempt from particular courses by just having your credentials assessed. So you don't have to do a course that you have already done if you have your credentials assessed. Okay? Some colleges and universities ask the academic records. They want your academic records to be sealed and sent to them directly. So please ensure that you have a conversation with them before getting your credentials assessed. We have a few agencies and institutions, organizations that will do credential assessment. We have listed 3 of them here for you: International Credential Assessment Services of Canada, ICASC, Comparative Education Services, CES, and World Education Services, WES. Some colleges and universities will want you to have your credentials assessed at their institution. So before you get all of this done, please do ensure that you are connecting with the institution to make sure that this is happening. And then we'll look at financial aid. If you are a Canadian resident or a Canadian citizen, you will be eligible for the different financial aid programs that we have available. We've got OSAP, that's the Ontario Student Assistance Program. There is also Ontario Students Grant, and there is Ontario Student Opportunity Program bursary that you can apply for as well. Please do some research and get this information down. As we progress further into the webinar, I want to talk a little bit about specialized training programs. We've covered a lot of the information on degree programs and colleges. Now let's just take a quick look at the different types of specialized programs that we have. I'm going to start with the bridging program. A bridging program, bridge training programs are for eligible immigrants and are designed to bridge your international training and experience with access to the supports that you need to get a license or certificate in your profession in Ontario. What happens when you take a bridging program? Well, these are some of the things that you can get through a bridging program. You can get an assessment of your skills or academic training, clinical or job placements to help you get Canadian work experience, mentoring or networking with employers, which is really, really very good, license or certification exam preparation, employment supports like resume preparation, labor market orientation, mock interviews, job search supports, and a number of other things. So please do go to the website and check out the bridging program and find out what you're eligible for and how you can take advantage of that. We have the apprenticeship training programs where we have over 150 trades in Ontario. Some examples are construction workers, industrial manufacturing sector, mechanics, and chefs. These will give you on-the-job training with a journey person, and many of these skilled jobs and skilled trades jobs, they pay really well. So this is an area that you may be interested in. Definitely check it out. As an apprentice, you will complete both in-class and on-the-job training. Remember that as an apprentice, you will have access to well-paying jobs that are in high demand, and it'll just be that you can express your creativity and all of that through these apprenticeship programs. Language training programs are another set of specialized training. Depending on your immigration status, you may be eligible for language training. This means that if you feel that your English language skills are not where you want them to be, you can access these services that will help you. There is a beginner, intermediate, and advanced level language training courses. There are general programs for speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And you can also get job-specific language training to prepare you for work in Ontario. The enhanced language training, so ELT, Link, OSLT, and Click are some of the programs that you have access to. Please do go to www.language.ca and you'll find a lot more information on how to access these services. Continuing education is another really big one. Colleges in Ontario also offer continuing education courses. Some continuing education courses are part of postgraduate certificates. Continuing education courses offer important job-related training. Computer software communications and project management are some examples of these courses. There are also continuing education programs for general interest, such as art, literature, cooking, or language. So absolutely, definitely try. And, if you're thinking of enhancing your studies or sharpening your tool when it comes to professional development, check out the continuing education courses that are offered at colleges and universities right across Ontario. Before we end the webinar, I want to tell you a little bit about the program that has brought you this. It's the Orientation to Ontario program, and we have some resources. Please go to our website at www.settlement.org/O2O. We can be found on the settlement website. We've got a workbook. We have fact sheets that are downloadable. There are group workshops that you can attend. There's a settlement organizer that you can access, online checklists that are really, really good for people who are looking for some support. And there are live and recorded webinars that you can access in both English, French, and Arabic. Now, the handbook, we also have a handbook that is available in English and French, and you can download that as well. The O2O website will also be able to give you a whole bunch of, like I said, fact sheets that you can take a look at. I believe there are 19 in total right now. And the settlement organizer is where you'll be able to complete various settlement plans. It's really, really interactive and fun to do. So check it out. Go ahead and take a look at the website and see what resources are there to help you. Orientation to Ontario project is funded by Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada and the Ontario government. This program is there to facilitate the settlement of newcomers to Ontario and help them make better informed choices. Costi Immigrant Services is the community-based organization that the Orientation to Ontario team is employed by, and we are the coordinating agency of this program. Please do feel free to check out our website as well, O2O at costi.org. You can also find information about Costi at www.costi.org. If you want to connect with the O2O team, call us at 1-855-626-0002. We look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to you joining us at most of our other webinars. There are many of them, as I mentioned. And thanks for joining me today. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send us an email at o2o@costi.org, and we'll be responding to you within 24 to 48 hours. Have a great day.